America too. Larry Brooks, you're here back with Suzuki in a team manager role. First of all, how are you finding being back in this position for a high-profile team with Ken Roczen joining?
Yeah, so I did a lot of amateur racing when I stopped managing for a while there, and I kind of went to the amateur scene and managed there for a while with kids, amateur kids, and had a good time. Kind of got my break from pro racing, but it was 250s, not so much 450s, and I really enjoy working with 450 and premier class riders. And I did a little bit, brought some of the amateur kids into professional racing with the Bar X team, and had a blast. But 250 class just wasn't my cup of tea. And so when I had the chance to do some 450 racing and the Progressive and Twisted Tea team wanted me to manage the team, I thought it was going to be great, a good time and stuff. And we didn't have a premier rider. We didn't have Ken Roczen at the time, and kind of the idea was to come in and build their infrastructure to hire a top rider, a premier rider like Ken Roczen or whoever.
Yeah.
And then he came available, came and rode the bike, really enjoyed it, and they made the decision early. It was like a year early, and we weren't really ready for it, but we had the opportunity to work with a great rider like that, so we had to take it when it came available. So but it's fun. I really enjoy competing in the 450 class and working on the 450 and kind of working at the highest level, and it's just so competitive. I kind of forgot how much work it was, but I'm enjoying it.
And how is Ken to work with? Obviously very talented, but the results are pretty good, maybe besides last week, but the speed's not far away already.
Yep. No, we're making big improvements on the bike all the time, and the bike, it's been around for a while, so I mean we need to build it up so it'd be competitive in the class, and it's getting better. We're learning a lot every week, and we're running into small little problems that we didn't know existed with the bike. But a rider like that the speeds they ride and how they hit the whoops and things like that, all these little problems pop up. But I've got a great group of guys around me, all the mechanics, twisted development, hits and clutches, and everyone's jumped on board. I mean, we spent the whole week out here with Ken and made some big improvements. It's just learning each other, but he's been a blast to work with, and it took a little bit to gain his trust, I think, because he really didn't know any of us, but it gets better every week, and I think we're definitely getting closer to where we want to be.
When you managed Jeremy McGrath, James Stewart, Chad Reed, is Ken more like Jeremy? He seemed to like fun, but when the focus, or what would you say he's like?
He likes to have more fun, and he's an easygoing guy, but then at the races, he's more like a Chad Reed, that he wants to win and he wants to work on the bike and improve the bike, and so he's a bit of all those riders put together. So it's kind of different, and I'm fortunate that I've worked with those guys, that I kind of know the personalities and know kind of the buttons to push when it needs to be pushed. But so far, no worries, and everything's been really good with him. But we will come across a time that he will explode on me and stuff. But hey, so far so good.
So I remember you racing, and then it wasn't long after that you started working with Jeremy. What was it like to work with someone with that talent and that ability to win, and what made him so special from you were a competitive rider yourself, so what made him so special at that time?
So when I was getting done with my career, Jeremy was coming in, so we were on the racetrack together a bit, and obviously he was better than me because he came in with, just going like gangbusters, and it was coming to the end for me. My body was tore up, and I was kind of losing the fight that I always had, and to work with a rider like Jeremy, and he was just really fun, and I learned more about racing once I quit racing, and kind of how the way a champion does it. It was definitely an eye-opener, and I always think that how fortunate I was to work with a guy like that, and we had so much fun. Our friendship, we had a great friendship, and you know, it was really fun. I mean, we won 3 championships, which, you know, that was a huge feat, and you know, he won a lot of races, so it was definitely a pleasure to work with him.
He seemed really smart as to when to win and then maybe when to hold back, whereas maybe a guy like Lusk just kept pushing the edge. Was that something you thought that's pretty good, you know, that he's not getting into these battles and maybe he doesn't need to?
Yeah, he would stay out of those battles, you know. He didn't want to take somebody out or battle them when he couldn't beat him. His whole theory on racing was get the start and go as hard as he could for 10 laps and then cruise, you know. and he did that really good. Like he actually achieved a lot of wins by just doing that. And you know, it was like I said, I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from James. I learned a lot from Chad, and you know, I think I'm using all that. You kind of forget all the things that you've learned, then I'm back into it at the level I'm at, and you know, you have to kind of pick your brain and realize, you know, what those guys did, and try to use those, you know, the knowledge that you gain from them to help Kenny. So it's been fun. It's been fun.
And you were on both sides of the Reed Stewart rivalry.
Yeah.
Was that a pretty intense time, even as a team manager?
It was a bit crazy, you know, and those two, James and Chad, they were just like oil and water, you know. They just went at it, and you know, it was really crazy that I think they're just so competitive, you know, and James was threatened by Chad because Chad was so relentless and tenacious. He wouldn't give up at all. And James, he was just pure speed. So they were different personalities, so it sort of rubbed each other the wrong way. And it was kind of fun, you know, once I went to James to use some of the things that I had learned with Chad against him at the time. We're friends now, like we talk tonight and stuff, but it's funny because, you know, it was different, you know, because I was more of the enemy when I went to James.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much for your time.